मन जाकर राखो जी, गिरधारी लाल। मन जाकर राखो जी।
धर्मक्षेत्रे कुरुक्षेत्रे समवेता युयुत्सवः मामकाः पांडवाश्चैव किमकुर्वत् संजय।
वासुदेवाय ओम शांति 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 हरि ओम तत्सत. We have been speaking about religion, which is of course the main aspect of our entire effort here. And more we know about it, more we will be able to understand and practice, and that is the purpose. There is a one beautiful statement by the wise in the Upanishadic time that states, Eko Sat Vipra Baudha Vadanti. The truth is one, or Sat actually means God or love. Love is one, but the wise people, even the wise ones, speak of it in different fashions, in different ways, and that means God can be one, but we can talk of Him in different name and forms. And that is what we have been doing when we say that God is one, but we can give Him different forms and different names. God can be man, God can be woman, goddess, God can be Mirabai, God can be Krishna, Jesus, whatever name and form we want to give, we have no problem. But remembering that truth is one, God is one, and that each one of us have freedom to choose, which Sanatana Dharma gives us, what we call Ishtadev, the Dev or God of your choice. In other words, however you feel to choose, or your sanskar tells you to choose him or her in whatever sanskar directs you. That is a wonderful thing. That way we don't impose on others. Each one can have their own deity, remembering that it is only one form of same God. It is like ocean that has several forms, or water that has several forms like foam and waves, and steam and ice, but it is still same water. So this statement that God is one, but the wise ones speak of it in various names and forms, is a wonderful conclusion of those who have realized God. We have to remember that it is the realization that gives us this wisdom. As long as we have not realized, we have this friction of talking about different gods and different religions and different people and different thoughts. So until we see unity or ultimate God, we will have this problem, but that is what we want to remove so that we don't have problem with ourselves as well as others. There is another statement also, dharmasya tattvam nihitam guhayam. It is not very easy to understand dharma, the truth or the root or the substance of religion is so deep, so difficult to understand that it resides in the depth of our heart, as we call it, Atman or Sat, or we can say Tattva, the Tattva of the religion. But it is very difficult to understand Dharma. We don't take it lightly. We don't make statement on religion very lightly, but we do try to repeat and benefit from the statements made by the saints that the substance of religion, like substance of cow is milk, substance of man's life is love, substance of God is love, and therefore the substance of religion then is love itself. And it is very deeply rooted in us. It is within us, as we have said, and we don't need to search outside. That is another thing. We spend so much time in searching what is already within us. Having said that, we move on to this our story and our battlefield, where we talked about the field of religion. Now we will be talking about the field of Kurukshetra. Kuru is therefore the family, and the field of family is where we are really ultimately concerned. Ours is a family, every man is a family, whether he is married or not. Particularly if he is married, of course, he has wife and children and in-laws and all the relations that goes with it. The whole crowd. It is a large family like a tree. As soon as you get married, the relationships, everything is added to it. So then in Kurukshetra, it is a field with a field of family. We are living in this family, and we have to learn from this Kuru family what has happened so that it doesn't happen to us, even though it is happening to us now. So Kurukshetra means there is always within a family there is differences of opinion, differences of nature, differences of background, different likings. These are inevitable, and we should expect that. I don't think we should expect everybody to behave the way we like. I don't think it is important what we think of other people. What is important is what God thinks of each one of us. And so we waste too much time in our family, Kurukshetra, in hoping that everybody will act the way we like, but we don't want to act the way we should be acting, like God says. So if we follow the laws of God within this Kurukshetra, there would be no problem. Duryodhana does not wish to follow the laws of God. We have been told that the vices, lust, greed, we have three things to watch out, and these are the passions, greed, and heedlessness that really comes in the path of love. We want love, but we don't know what are the obstacles to our love, and these are the obstacles. These are the kamna we call, the passions, the greed, the heedlessness, sometimes pride and arrogance, ego that I am always right or my way of doing things. So these are the things within the family or within the individual field. We want to see that these obstacles are reduced. However, often it is so difficult that even though Lord Krishna himself has been helping this family, Pandavas were willing to listen at least, and Kauravas refused to listen even to God who is around them and wishing them well and wants to help them to avoid this destruction of the entire family and their friends. So we should remember that it is very difficult to explain or convince Duryodhana that he is wrong and that he should change. He refused to change until he died. And this is one thing we want to learn, that the ego, the vanity, the pride that we have, we don't want to give up even if we lose our life. Even we ruin our life, but we will not give it up. And this is what we have to learn. I think Gita is so practical in telling us it is not Duryodhana as a person or not even you as a person, but our attitudes and our nature is what we are talking about. I don't think that any person should be written off. All persons can change. What our nature is that we have made and that is hurting us, that is taking us away from our life, joy, love, and peace, is what we want to avoid. So then in Kurukshetra, we find that it is very difficult to get along with people of different nature, even between husband and wife, and we don't expect that. Two people are not made alike. Lions and tigers and elephants, and no creature is made alike. Each one has their own nature. So the beauty will be then to listen to the Lord and learn to understand the nature of each person and adjust to the best of our ability rather than changing the nature, and then try to follow the universal laws that Lord has told us to follow. if we know this thing, I think we will be able to save a lot of troubles, lot of vanity and vain efforts and vain energy in trying to change others while we cannot change ourselves. Duryodhana refused to change even when Sri Krishna asked only 5 villages. First he refused half the kingdom, then even 5 villages. So we don't want to give our pride even if we will lose our joy and our life, but we do not want to give up our ego. And this is what creates the problem, and that is what the whole Gita is all about. So when we talk about Kurukshetra again, in the family and even in the individual, we have two things to deal with, and those are the vices and virtues. And I one time felt that let me find out from the whole of the Gita where Bhagwan or Lord has said what are the vices and what are the virtues, so that if we are aware of it, that this is the war we have to do. We want to develop virtues and we want to overcome the vices. I will be glad to remunerate these vices and virtues that I found in the Gita, in the Lord's message. If we will listen to this, and at least we can categorize that, oh, if this is the thing, this is the vice and this is the virtue. Sometimes we don't even know the difference between vice and virtue. Unfortunately, sometimes virtues are considered as vice because we don't like it. If a guy is drunk and if somebody does not drink, then he doesn't like the guy who is not drinking. So even though not drinking is a virtue, but the guy who has a vice of drinking, he thinks that the other guy is not right. So all these things we are talking about, vice and virtues, are not very simple or easy to understand because each one of us want to interpret our way. And we always think that we are the right one, so that whatever we do is right. But we should go to the rather impartial presentation which saints have done. Saints alone are impartial, and Lord Himself, of course, is impartial, and the true scriptures are impartial. So let us look at it. What are the obstacles? The vices are the obstacles, and the vices are egoism, attachment, jealousy, vanity, hypocrisy, calumny, resentment, anger, gluttony, arrogance, haste, disobedience, fickleness, excuses, selfishness, despondence, maliciousness, laziness, agitation, vengeance, sickness, curiosity, harshness, carelessness, anxiety, doubts, talkativeness, and meddling in the affairs of others. So when we hear this thing, we don't have to be afraid of it, but at least first let's classify and we understand right from day one that this is the milk and this is beer. If you don't know the difference and you consider beer as milk and milk as beer, then we will have all confusion. So we need to identify the things as they are and not the way we like it. So these are then the obstacles that I found in Gita, and I am not going to give the reference, but I would like you to study and find it out. I have the reference where I found them. Now these are called Kauravas. In our story, in our war, Kauravas means hundreds of Kauravas, means hundreds of vices. Usually we have plenty of vices. That's why Kauravas are considered many, and Pandavas are only 5, and that means virtues are not very easy to develop, or there are fewer people who really wants to follow religion, and there are many who do not want to. This also is another indication in our story. So we should not expect that too many people will turn to religion, but even at that, the reality is that very few people are sincere to observe and practice the truth that Gita is presenting. Now let us look at the virtues. What are the virtues? We may call them friends. Vices are our enemies, and virtues are our friends, because we always think in terms of friends and enemies. Actually, the war right now is going on between Kauravas and Pandavas. Kauravas are thinking they are our enemies, Pandavas think they are the enemies, and then each one has their own friends they have brought out and to help them. So we are always in the mode of who is my friend and who is my enemy. That is why we are trying to use this mode that we are familiar with. Now, who are our real friends? The real friends are humility, patience, perseverance, cheerfulness, faith, austerity, zeal, even mindedness, love, solitude, modesty, gentleness, self control, forgiveness, promptness, detachment, silence, service, forbearance, purity, compassion, fearlessness, freedom, generosity, straightforwardness, peacefulness, selflessness, and renunciation. These are some of the words that Lord has used as the virtues that we need to develop. That is what we call dharma. If you are talking about dharma and adharma, means religion and what is opposite to religion, then we can say that the vices are opposite to religion and virtues are in favor of religion. So these are then the words that we just enumerated. I'm sure that almost all of us are familiar with these words. Sometimes we even have experienced this thing when we are in good mode of life. We have our virtues come out and we feel happy. When we are not in good mode of life, we feel depressed, and then we find that the enemies try to arise in us. So this then helps us. These lists are like a map. This is what is a guideline for us so that we can judge for ourselves rather than ask others to judge us. Because in this world, when we cannot judge ourselves right, I don't know how others can judge us and help us. A sick man cannot help another sick man. A drowning man cannot help another drowning man. So we really want to go to a saint who really is beyond this so that he can help us. And that is what Gita is going to do for us, that it will give us impartially what is good for us and what is not good for us. So in Kurukshetra or in the family, we have not only problems to get along between two persons, but even if we are alone in this world, forgetting that we don't have family to deal with. I'm sure the family problems are quite common and you are all familiar with it, what happened between husband and wife or between children and parents and in-laws and all the, sometimes I call it a mess because the way we are dealing and behaving, instead of making the best out of it, we almost act like as if we are enemies of each other. We forget that we are on the same side. We forget that we are playing this drama and that we are in the same team or same side, and we act like enemies of each other, and then we hurt ourselves as well as others. Now then, coming back to, not only this is a field of family, this is also, even if we don't have the family and supposing a man decides to live alone, never wants to marry, don't want to deal with anybody else, he still has the battlefield within him. And this is the ultimate battlefield. Ultimate battlefield is that within us individuals we have both these enemies and virtues, friends and enemies, that we will have to struggle. So essentially it is not really the main problem of fighting within families or harmony within families, but to bring the harmony within ourselves, these enemies that we have within ourselves, if we can harmonize, then naturally and necessarily we'll be able to harmonize the family, we'll be able to harmonize the society, we'll be able to harmonize the nation, and we'll be able to harmonize the whole world. So again, God has given us such a beautiful thing because nobody can come in our way. When I want to improve myself, I have nobody bothering me. But our pride and ego does not allow us to do this, and that is why God is standing by to help us. We don't need to feel helpless under any condition, no matter what our nature is. It may look impossible, but one thing I would like you to remember, we never want to give up, because once you give up, you have lost the battle. On the other hand, no matter how weak we are, we say, no, I'm going to try, I'm going to struggle, I'm going to get up, then I think you are going to get up. and you are going to win. This is the experience because we are not perfect. God alone is perfect, and we should not look for perfection in others as well as within us, because by looking for perfection and when we are not, we feel depressed and sometimes we like to give up. And that is something we should not ever allow to come in our life. If we truly have the right guidance, the question of suicide, question of divorces, question of fighting, question of giving up, question of separation should never come, because the problems don't go away the way we try to solve the problem. Supposing in family there is a problem, if there is a divorce, there is no guarantee that next marriage will not again have the same problem of divorce. Or you don't like San Francisco and you want to go to Bombay, there is no assurance that Bombay will be any better than San Francisco or otherwise. Running away from the situation, running away from problems is like running away from ourselves. And the real thing, it is not the other person who is our problem, we are our own problem. And we cannot run away from our problem, so it is better sometimes to stay put, try to face the thing, try to improve ourselves, change ourselves. We are not saying that we should put up with evil, but the problem is with ourselves. And that is the most beautiful thing that Gita is teaching us. Problem is, we are our problems, we can solve our problems, we can go to God and get His help, and therefore we don't need to blame others, we don't need to feel helpless that other people don't change, so I cannot change, because Lord has not made the world that way. I think with this much about family and the family problems, we can move on, and what happened to the Kuru family we hope to prevent. Gita is not teaching the battlefield where we have to destroy the families, but Gita is teaching that by the destruction of the Kuru family, they did not find peace. Neither Pandavas nor Kauravas found peace, because both of them lost all their men. I think there were about over 6 million people that were destroyed in this battle. And so I don't see how any party can feel that they have won the war. So the purpose of taking the example of battlefield is to prove that fighting is not the solution, that the war actually gave nobody happiness, whether Pandavas were right or Kauravas were right, both lost the peace and joy. But the battle we have to, if there is a just battle where we have to fight the evil, it is the evil that we have to fight, in which case we are going to be always the winner. So we are not talking about destroying people or relatives or friends or physical identities. It is the destruction of the vices, and we want to nurture the virtues. That is the whole battle about. And so don't make any people or group of people as your enemy, whether it's a man versus a female, or Hindus versus Muslims or Christians, but it is the vices and virtues within us are the enemies that we have to fight, rather than the people or the groups of people or other religion. I hope that this message makes it clear, and if it does make it clear, then I think that we should have much less problem with the world, because God is beautiful, God has made the world beautiful, God has made us beautiful, probably the best creature that He can make us. And the whole purpose was that He makes the universe for man to enjoy it. He being love, He being peace, He being free. He wants us to be free. He has made everything to help us to, but only because of ignorance, only because not knowing the laws of God, only because we don't follow them, we create the problem. But God never intended that. We don't have the intention to suffer, and yet we do suffer. So if we can understand all these things, we will have right away the strength that no, the battle is not lost. Nothing is lost. The past is gone. I have a chance. I will try. Why do I want to be unhappy? Ask the question. Learn to ask the question, have I found happiness? I went to this particular religion, particular dharma guru or particular denomination. Have I found peace? I am trying to find Gita. Have I found peace? Has my delusion reduced? Has my confusion come down? You can ask yourself, and you have your answer, but we don't want to ask, we don't want to answer, and often we are just hypocrites. We want to make believe that we are happy outwardly, but inside we know that very few are happy, because by nature, unless we follow spirituality, you cannot be happy no matter how much we pretend. We don't even need to ask anybody the question. It is laid out in the entire worldly universal law. You cannot be happy no matter how much you pretend, unless you have become saintly, or unless you have tried to follow the laws. So we don't want to deceive ourselves. We want to we want to do justice, we want to be honest to ourselves, we want to be honest to God, and that is all our responsibility is. We feel that, oh, I am responsible to answer the family or to the society or friends, and yet we hardly answer to ourselves or to our God. So coming back again, the issue is, ask yourself, are you happy? Are you really happy? If not, we have a solution, and that is the end of it. There is no need for further discussion or arguing and all this thing. If you are sick, don't ask why you are sick or why you did that or I told you so. But now that you are sick, the only thing to do is to go to the doctor, get rid of the sickness, and get back on your feet and start enjoying the life. Because life is moving and life clock is not stopping, and if we go on discussing and arguing, all we are doing is becoming more unhappy. We are losing out this best opportunity of a human life, and we don't know when again we will deserve to be the same human life, because if we haven't used this opportunity the way God wants us, chances are we are not going to get the same opportunity because we refuse this opportunity. So, while we still have the opportunity, I am sure those of you who are wise, who wish to do good to yourself, not to anybody else, be nice to yourself, you want to be a joyous person, everything is within your control, and we want to give you control. We want to empower you, as these modern people are saying nowadays in the technology field. And I think God always wanted to empower us. We think that we have found a new word, but right in the spiritual aspect, God wants that everybody should have their own powers. Even children should have their own powers. Husband, wife, family, lions, tigers, everybody should have their own powers. But we give powers to others, we become helpless, and then we say, I am a slave. So, we want to take away the slavery, we want to give you back your freedom. You are free, you were supposed to be free, you will remain free, but because of ignorance, we have become a slave. So, Gita's another purpose, this whole message that we are trying to do is to empower your power that lies within you. You think that dharma gurus will help you, somebody else will help you, money will help you, name and fame will help you. That means you are going to become the slave of money or dharma guru or temples or something else. And again, you have given away your powers to others. And the main thing is you want to bring back your power. And no, believe me, nobody knows any more than you do, but we pretend that somebody, because he knows how to talk better, or maybe he thinks that he looks better, but God has given every one of us equal beauty, equal love and peace, if we just don't look at only superfluously and outwardly about a person, but we learn to enter the heart of that person, and we'll find that everybody has God within them, and we will be really able to bring back our confidence, our dignity, our respect, and that is all each and every one of us want. I think that a person who does not want dignity is not a human being. It is built in us because of God residing in us that all of us want dignity, freedom. We don't like anybody telling us, and that is the way it should be. But when we don't behave, and if we behave like Duryodhan, then certainly somebody will have to tell, particularly your own self, and we will suffer. So if you want to be free, you want to empower yourself, then we must move from vices to virtues, and someday for the sure, the battle is going to be over. And you will not have to worry either the vices or the virtues, and you will be permanent. Nobody will be touching you, because now you have touched the ocean. You are a free person, and you don't have to worry that I may fall back again into vices or virtues. There is a state which we will not talk about it now, but beyond this battle, there is a state which is what we want to talk about later on, that you will not always have to fight. This war will come to an end. And that is what we meant when we said self-realization or the ultimate freedom or ultimate love of Mirabai that she is trying to teach us, or even all saints of the all times and all religions.